Login accepted. Now initializing.
Hi, I'm Andre Faust, otherwise known as Andre the Tech Guy, and today's video tutorial is on building your first web page. Now, what's interesting, several weeks ago I was asked by actually a senior member of our society, actually my community. The guy's somewhere in his 80s, and he was interested in how to build a website. And of course, you know, he's telling me a little bit about himself. So anyway, I decided to give a shot at it. So the approach that I've used is very, very simplistic. I make the assumption that the person has zero knowledge. I make the assumption they may not even know how to plug in their computer. So that's how, before basic, I'm going to get with this here. The analogy that I use for my approach is like teaching a song on guitar. I won't talk much about theory. With the guitar, I would show the person 3 chords and a corresponding song. They wouldn't know harmonies or anything like that. They just know the physical thing. So that's about how I've approached to it. There is, though, a theoretical component which is not in the video. Instead, I wrote it up in a PDF file, which is stored in the cloud, and I will provide a link to that file. Actually, it's going to be a series of exercise file plus the PDF, which will be in a zip format on the cloud. In the description section of the YouTube, I'll have the link for it. So anyway, you don't want to hear me go on and on and on, so let's proceed on and let's do the video tutorial course. This course tutorial is aimed for those people who have zero or no experience or knowledge in HTML web page development, just simple knowledge. So for those of you who happen to stumble upon this and who has experience, this is definitely not the course tutorial for you, because you'll find it overly simplistic and of course boring if you have any knowledge. I have a theoretical component to this, which I have included in a file that the link will be given in the description in the video portion on YouTube. So the first thing you need to do is put these 4 tags to memory. In this order, at least to remember it. HTML, the closing tag, and you notice the closing tag always has a / in front of it. So you put HTML head, title, and body to memory. Okay, once that's done, in theory, you could actually produce a page with just these 4 tags, but it's not advised to do so because the browser needs a few more other things. But it will work. But when the site gets complicated, it would come back and bite you. So to make it a little bit more human readable, I've manually formatted this using my tab. I could have had this piece of software to do it automatically, but you may be using something like Notepad, the text editor that is native to Windows. I remind you again to use a text editor, not a word processor. If you use a word processor, bad things will happen. One of the advantages of having this format is that you can quickly see the opening and the closing tags. You can see here the HTML opening, HTML bottom. HTML has to be the first tag and the last tag. This format shows you also how the rest is nested inside. We have our head, opening, closing, nested inside the HTML, and nested inside the head tag is the title tag. And then you have the body tags, opening and closing, nested inside the HTML.
The browser understands this format, and you'll notice there's been a slight change from the example that you used for memory. This is the actual structure. So take a photographic mental picture of that, store it in the memory. But we're not done yet. We're working to make things happen in the browser. So okay, now we have basically the same thing, but I've added a few things to it. One is this declaration document type HTML. You need to put that in to tell the browser that you are using HTML5. I'm not going to talk about HTML 4.1 and earlier because it's not relevant. We're here in 2017, so we start building sites for 2017 and on. The browser also needs to know what character set that you're going to use, so it knows what, how to properly display your characters, your letters, your special characters, your numbers, your alphanumerics, and all of those. So this UTF-8 tells the browser what character set to use. I've added this other meta tag here. This is to tell the browser that you are building a responsive website. A responsive website is a scalable website that will look good on any devices, whether it be a smartphone or a large plasma screen TV. The site will scale to the size of the device that you are using. In the title part, I just used the title name in my first website. When you use a title, choose a title that is descriptive of your website. The reason being is that the web crawlers for the search engines, that is one of the things that it first looks at is the title, and that may also determine where your position is going to be on the search page. So I'm going to save this. Now, outside of my first website, because that's technically is content, you won't see anything in the main browser window. It will be white because we do not have any content in the body tags. So we'll take a quick look at, I'm trying to remember which. We're going to have a quick look at that example. And as you can see, the center of the web browser is white because we didn't put any content. The only content we put in was in the title, and here we see it at the top of this tab, the title. Let's look at our source code. I'm using Firefox, Mozilla's Firefox. I'm right-clicking on my mouse. I'm going to view page source, and there you do see the source code. The reason why down here you don't see anything, why everything's white, is because we haven't put any content. With Google Chrome, you can see the source code the same way by right-clicking on your mouse and left-clicking on View Source Code. Other browsers like Safari, it's a little more cumbersome to get to see your source code. There's a little bit more dicking around that you have to do. So going back to our bracket editor, we're going to go to our fourth demos, and these are the same files. I just pre-done them so I don't have to type everything in every time, which just saves on time. So I have 3 header tags, 1, 2, and 3, and the corresponding closing tags, 1, 2, and 3. These headers differ in size. Also, these are what are referred to as display block, meaning at the end of the tag it will create a new line. I've included this string of text, and you can see it's on 2 lines. I do not have no tags in front of it. You can enter content without your tags, but it's not a practice that I recommend. Unless there's a special effect that you want to do, I would avoid not putting in tags. So let's take a look at what it looks like on the browser. So as you can see, our header tags, the H1, how large it is, how much smaller the second H2 is, and how much smaller the third H3 is. Here's our paragraph, and as you can see, it's all one string. The second line was concatenated to the first line, and you may not want that at all. That may not be the results that you want. So we'll pop back to our text editor, and I'm going to add some tags in here. P for paragraph, that's the paragraph tag. And as you can see, it put in my closing tag automatically. Normally, if I would be writing code, I would have put my P in. That's what would have happened, but I would have written this in between. So let's delete that, X, and delete this. Copy first, and then X. So Control or Command V, Control or Command V. It's just a quick shortcut. So we have our opening and closing tag. So we'll save this little guy, and we'll go back, close this one off, and we'll go back, and we're going to see what it looks like in the browser. Okay, so as you can see, these two lines are now separate lines, and that's because the P tag, the display block tag, creates a new line or paragraph at the end of the closing tag. So that's pretty straightforward stuff. Right now I'm not going to work with any complicated layouts. I'll use something that you're familiar with, something you would do on a word processor or a letter, which would be in the next lesson. So that pretty well wraps up this part of this easy tutorial. Just to quickly review, put the structure to memory, these 4 tags, remember those down. Memorize this structure as it is, bare bone. And here's where you start adding to your markup, so the browser will know how to interpret your newly created page. We've added 3 H series tags: larger print, medium, and smaller. We've added the P paragraph tag, its closing tags, to separate those 2 paragraphs. So that wraps this section up. In the next section, I'll be touching on to divs and spans, and we're slowly going to build ourselves up to where we'll build a relatively complicated web page. So until next time, thank you very much for your patience. Till then, God bless.